I love math. See, I'm even wearing a math pin right now. However, it didn't take me long to realize that not everyone likes math, surprisingly. And to me, this makes no sense. Something about the numbers working into equations and drawing graphs relating to parabolas attracted me greatly, but for some reason, not everyone understood the beauty there is inside this endeavor, and because of that, they think I'm crazy. However, I soon come to the realization that the reason why I love this math so much is because I'm good at it. And the context in the fact that I can do these things and not many people can made me realize that my own perspectives of my own love for this subject is blurred by my predetermined ideas regarding it. And this is what came to mind when I heard the phrase rose-colored glasses. And what we can take this to mean is that people have different perspectives. Not everyone has clear glasses. Some people have rose-colored glasses. Some people even have blue-colored glasses. And it all depends on the ways they were raised. And today, we can see how having different perspectives may lead to negative consequences and how that may lead to detrimental harm. Secondly, we must see how by having different perspectives, an event that is typically thought of as positive may be seen as negatives by different areas of people. And lastly, you must examine a character who is able to blur through all of the perspectives and lift his visors in order to understand that the true reality in order for him to achieve success lies in his endeavors. And by synthesizing these 3 points, we can understand that while different perspectives do exist, we must have to understand that they exist and we must be able to incorporate them towards our daily lives. Our first point to be examined is someone who managed to fail to take into account different perspectives by showing how his own predetermined childhood managed to influence his ways of viewing things by looking at the physician Samuel Cartwright. Samuel Cartwright was a physician from the United States during the antebellum period of 1859, and he diagnosed slaves who desired freedom to have a mental illness he named drapetomania. Of course, nowadays, his pseudoscientific ideas is regards of pseudoscience, but it goes to show how his vision in regards to the reality was influenced by the rose-colored glasses that was the views regarding race during that time. Instead of being a good scientist and criticizing all of these different ideas as being unscientific, Samuel Cartwright relied on the social norms at that time and was unwilling to take the step to remove his rose-colored glasses and realize that his perspective on things may be wrong and may in fact be influenced by the society around him. Because of that, slavery and racism continued to be perpetuated in the South, while in the North, Samuel Cartwright's claims are bullied, causing a further divide that eventually led to the Civil War, showing how being unable to recognize how flawed your perspectives could be could lead to the detrimental downfalls of entire races. Secondly, we must see how by having different colored glasses or different perspectives, an event that may seem influential or positive may be viewed negatively depending on the type of perspectives you have. And with this, we must take into consideration the Industrial Revolution. During this time, it was focused on the UK, and with their great advancements in technology, particularly with the steam engine, they allowed to be an economic powerhouse, prospering greatly. Except, of course, for the 90% of the population, who lived in extreme poverty because 90% of them were below the elite class. What is viewed now and in a global scale as an event that led to the advancements we have today was being viewed by the lower class at that time as a negative thing. The gap between the haves and the have-nots was widened because of the Industrial Revolution. And it shows that the event, claiming the event was something that was positive, is simply an influence of someone's rose-colored glasses, because they were unable to understand that the reason why this event is positive for some people is because they are experiencing it in a more elite way. Other than the 90% of the population, they were at a great disadvantage because they were experiencing it in a bad way and felt all the negative consequences of it. The Industrial Revolution to this day remains in the middle point between good or bad, because while it did manage to advance the world towards a greater height in technology, it also led to pollution and poverty, which also shows how our perspectives in an event is completely determined by our class, as well as our ability to understand how these things came to be. And lastly, by pushing through all the problems that are different perspectives, we must also understand how by examining a character, we can be able to pass all of the perspective that has been installed upon us in order to find what truly matters and to gain our success. And with this, there is no other character more powerful than Mike Wazowski. In Monsters University, Mike Wazowski dreamed to be a scarer in a society where fear and screams power the entire world. But nothing about Mike Wazowski seemed scary. He was a green blob with one eye. There was nothing scary about this monster. And yet he was determined to become a scarer, and he studied on his scare tactics in Monsters University despite the doubt installed upon him by everyone around him. Yet, Mike Wazowski soon realized by the end of the movie that his physical limitations are simply too great in order for him to actually be a proper scarer. And because of that, he realized that he needed to take off his rose-colored glasses in order to see what truly mattered and how he can truly find the success that he has been searching by understanding that just because he's not scary does not mean he can't help other people to be scary. In Monsters Incorporated, he is Sully's coach, and using his different scare tactics and his intelligence, Mike Wazowski managed to propel Sully, who initially had no control over his talents, towards great heights in his job. Because Mike Wazowski was able to understand that his perspective of becoming a scarer is flawed, he managed to take off his rose-colored glasses and understood that his opinions are not valid at the moment, and he must find a way in order to gain success through looking at a more realistic lens. Today, we were given the phrase rose-colored glasses, and what this simply means is that different perspectives exist, and they cause problems, and sometimes we need to push towards them in order to be successful. And we saw this today through the examples of Samuel Cartwright, the Industrial Revolution, and lastly, Mike Wazowski. And this all ties back to my first example, as to how maybe, just maybe, math may not be the holy grail of all subjects in school.